Your spiritual heart did not bring you to this video by accident. Pause right here. Do not glance away. Do not minimize this screen, and do not let your ego convince you to watch this later. Something has just locked into place by the absolute command of your Creator, and you need to feel the depth of it before your analytical mind tries to logically explain it away. This reminder did not casually surface on your feed. This is an indirect, unyielding decree of divine alignment. Your localized spiritual frequency has just intersected with a celestial confirmation that was set in motion before your lungs ever experienced their first breath. The spiritual shield around your heart is about to become completely untouchable by the world, because what just occurred in your energy field while you were living your daily life was a seismic, divine reorganization. It was a structural transformation so complete that the decree of the All-Wise has turned the attention of the unseen world toward your specific frequency signature. You didn't find this transmission found you. Because your spiritual field, your personal divine light, the luminous quantum architecture that surrounds your physical body, just crossed a threshold that most people spend entire lifetimes approaching but never fully crossing. You have been sitting with a quiet, unexplainable knowing that you are standing at the edge of something enormous, that the ground beneath your ordinary life has fundamentally shifted, and that you are not the same person who went to sleep last night. You are not. Truly significant quantum shifts do not always feel like what you expect. You might expect a spiritual upgrade to feel like immediate joy and radiant certainty, but more often it feels strange and disorienting. It feels like familiar things have become slightly foreign, like old worldly motivations have quietly lost their grip, and like things that used to comfort your ego no longer fit. That is not confusion. That is purification. Your field is reorganizing itself around a new frequency baseline, and everything calibrated to your previous worldly vibration is now slightly out of alignment. The chatter of the material world has become harder to hear, like someone turned down the volume on everything that doesn't match where your heart now vibrates. Feel what happens in your body when you hear this. Not in your mind, in your body. Because your body is a quantum instrument, a biological antenna tuned to receive and broadcast frequency. Right now, somewhere in your chest, in the space of your spiritual heart, there is a quiet cellular recognition happening, an innate human nature that says, "This is real. This is about me." Quantum physics demonstrates that observation changes what is observed. The act of a conscious observer attending to a subatomic particle actually collapses its wave function from a state of infinite probability into a specific, defined physical reality. The observer participates in creating it. Attention is an active generative force. Scale that principle up to the level of divine intelligence and consciousness itself. What happens when higher dimensional awareness, governed by the Creator, turns its observational field toward your specific frequency signature? Being registered by that quality of celestial attention accelerates the collapse of your highest potentials into manifest reality. This is not metaphor, this is mechanics. Your frequency shifted to an altitude where you became detectable to spiritual forces that do not attend to the ordinary noise of low vibrational human experience. You crossed a threshold of coherence, a point where the signal of your energy field became clear enough, strong enough, and specific enough to register on a different scale of awareness entirely. The higher forces of light were stunned, not because you are performing perfectly, but because of the quality of your frequency itself. They were stunned because your field revealed the frequency of endurance without bitterness, of sustained patience in the absolute absence of visible evidence, of remaining coherent, remaining luminous, and remaining essentially yourself through seasons of silence and confusion and delay that would have collapsed a less rooted consciousness entirely. You have been in a testing period where the outer world did not reflect what you could feel building internally, where the gap between your inner vision and your actual physical reality felt enormous. You kept your frequency as high as you could manage through circumstances designed to test the structural integrity of your energy field, and you held, fundamentally, at the level of your deepest vibrational signature, you held. You did not collapse into bitterness. You did not surrender your frequency to the chaos around you, and you did not let the noise of low vibrational reality permanently overwrite the signal of who you actually are. That is what higher forces observed. That is what created the stunned recognition, not a performance, a quality of being. Every sacred wisdom tradition on this planet and the bioelectric field research of modern quantum biologists point to the exact same reality. You are not just a physical body. You are a field, a luminous, dynamic, intelligent field of quantum coherence that uses a physical body as its densest layer of expression. When physicists study quantum fields, they discover that fields of similar frequency naturally entrain and fall into resonance with each other. Two particles that have ever been in contact remain quantum entangled regardless of the distance between them. Change the state of one and the other responds instantaneously. Your energy field operates on this same principle. What you are in resonance with is determined entirely by the actual vibrational quality of your consciousness in this moment. When your frequency shifts, your entanglements shift with it, and doors close or open without your conscious planning, because it is orchestrated by the quantum intelligence of your shifting field. The universe does not wait for your logical mind to catch up before it begins rearranging your reality. The rearrangement begins immediately at the quantum level. This is why last night specifically, a profound shift occurred in your field while you were sleeping. Your energy body consolidated the inner work you have been doing, and something locked in. Something became permanent that was previously still in flux. You crossed a threshold while you slept, and the forces of higher dimensional intelligence registered the shift. They registered you and turned their full observational attention toward your specific frequency signature. Consider the spiritual parable of a woman named Sarah, who lived for many years in a dense village where the lights were dim because the people had collectively agreed that this dimness was the only normal level of illumination. But Sarah had a rare habit. She sat in absolute silence. Something in her deep cellular intelligence knew that silence was where the divine signal was clearest. In her silence, she began to notice a quality of light at the edge of her perception, a luminosity that pulsed with intelligence and responded to her attention. She said nothing to the village, knowing they would reinterpret her words into something smaller and more familiar. She held the perception quietly, let it deepen and let it teach her soul. Over time, the luminosity she was attending to became her own deepest nature, temporarily obscured by the village's collective baseline. As she allowed herself to vibrate at the frequency of that light, the space immediately around her became brighter simply because she had stopped suppressing the light she naturally was. The people of the village noticed. Some were drawn to her inexplicably, while others were made profoundly uncomfortable. One night, while sitting in her silence, she became aware of a vast, luminous intelligence attending to her frequency, registering her coherence and recognizing in her signal something it had been watching for. She did not feel afraid. She felt completely recognized. You are both Sarah and the luminosity she discovered. The attention you have been feeling lately, that sense of standing at an enormous threshold, is not anxiety, it is absolute recognition. The quantum field is attending to your frequency. Higher dimensional intelligence is registering your coherence, and the stillness you feel is your energy field's natural response to being seen at the level of its actual truth. Previous upgrades to your frequency were preparatory work, the invisible engineering that makes a building capable of reaching toward the sky. Last night completed that foundation. What begins now is the period of active transmission. You are becoming a source of coherence for the field around you, functioning as an active node in the quantum networks of luminous consciousness that are reorganizing human reality. The dam is being removed, and this is why the shift in your energy field was so significant that higher forces took notice. Last night, they watched the final structural element lock into place and watched the beginning of a flow that cannot be stopped. You are ready. Your upgraded frequency functions as absolute protection in daily reality, because low vibrational frequencies, the energies of fear, manipulation, and chaos, cannot entrain with a field operating at a significantly higher coherence. They cannot penetrate your shield if your field is vibrating above their range. The way a radio tuned to one frequency does not receive broadcasts on another, not because it is actively fighting them, but because it is not in resonance with them. Maintaining your frequency is an active, continuous moment-by-moment choice to prioritize your baseline coherence above your reactions, above your ego's need to be right, and above your impulse to engage with chaos on its own terms. This is the practice of frequency stewardship. When you do this, you gain access to an expanded intuition that comes as a sudden, clear knowing, an inexplicable certainty about directions to move. Learning to act on this guidance before your logical mind has constructed a justification is the primary skill of this new phase. Your field is receiving signals that your brain cannot yet process. Trust the receiver. For the next 7 days, keep a record of every specific moment of clear, intuitive knowing you experience, and watch the empirical evidence of your expanded field's guidance system build. Do not make the common mistake that people make after a significant frequency upgrade. Do not immediately begin reaching, pushing, and straining toward outcomes, thinking you now have the power to force them. In doing so, you collapse the very coherence that made the shift possible. Effort is a low vibrational frequency. Straining is a signal of lack. Reaching says, I do not yet have what I am reaching for. When you activate the energy of effortful striving, you introduce the frequency of lack into a field that was just vibrating at the frequency of completion.
The universe does not respond to your narrative, it responds to your frequency. If you broadcast striving, it will create more circumstances that require striving.
The shift that happened last night was a shift into a state of completion, a state of coherence that contains within it the vibrational signature of what you have been moving toward. It manifests in your physical reality through resonance, alignment, and ease, not through frantic human effort. It is the unhurried movement that comes from a consciousness that knows the outcome is already determined and authorized by the divine decree. Stay in the energy of receiving and allowing, recognizing that it is already happening at the quantum level. The habit of striving will try to reassert itself, masquerading as responsibility and discipline. When it arises, breathe, return to your quiet certainty, and let the striving dissolve. This is not passivity, this is absolute mastery. The things meant for your new frequency level will be drawn toward you naturally by the resonance of your field, via synchronicities and unexpected connections. They will feel like the natural completion of a pattern. The things that require you to force, strain, and override your intuition are not aligned with your new vibrational level. Release them without grief. They belonged to a previous frequency. This pruning can feel like failure, but it is simply your field clearing itself of everything no longer in resonance with you. When the voice of smallness whispers that you do not deserve this level of cosmic recognition, recognize it as the frequency of your previous vibrational level trying to reassert itself. That voice is not protecting you, it is limiting you. Claiming your frequency and owning your coherence is not arrogance. Arrogance is a claim of significance based on ego and comparison. What we are talking about is the simple quantum mechanical recognition of your actual vibrational state, the willingness to receive the recognition that the quantum field itself is extending toward your frequency. Coherence attracts coherence. Luminosity attracts luminosity. You are significant because you showed up, did the work, held your frequency through the seasons designed to collapse it, and crossed the threshold. Own that with absolute gratitude. To integrate this upgrade, find 5 minutes of genuine stillness today. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and bring your awareness to the space approximately an arm's length around your physical body, the inner layer of your personal field. Notice the warmth or expansion without judgment. With each inhale, imagine your field drawing in the highest frequency of light. With each exhale, let it expand and become more coherent. At the end, say clearly in your inner voice, "My frequency is my protection. My light is activated. I am in resonance with the highest intelligence, and I am ready for what comes next." Say it as a statement of quantum mechanical reality. To anchor this in the collective grid right now, go to the comments below and type this exact phrase, "My light is activated." When you type that phrase, you are signaling the quantum grid, adding your frequency to the collective network of everyone who has received this transmission. Type it now. My light is activated. The deepest truth of what happened last night is this. Your frequency shifted because you are ready to stop being a student of your own luminosity and to become an expression of it, to start living as your light. This is the threshold higher forces recognized, the crossing of a line between seeking and being. A consciousness that is always moving toward its own light carries the frequency of not yet, which subtly creates interference and lack in the field. But a consciousness that has recognized itself as the light broadcasts completion and fullness. The quantum field responds to these states perfectly. The seeker receives more seeking. The being receives more being. You are no longer the seeker. You are the light that the seeking was always pointing toward. Let that rewrite the operating instructions of your nervous system. The human experience, with all its challenges, is the medium through which your luminosity is expressing itself. The challenges did not delay your activation, they were your activation. The seasons of silence were the precise conditions under which your faith became unshakable. Tested faith becomes structural and load-bearing, capable of holding the weight of the physical manifestations already authorized at the quantum level. You must inhabit the state of completion even before the physical evidence arrives, being the light without waiting for the world to confirm it. You have already done the hardest part. What comes now is the natural, inevitable flowering of what was always latent in your frequency. The interference is clearing and the signal is coming through. In the days ahead, pay close attention to the synchronicities that accelerate, the intuitive knowings that arrive with precision, and the people who enter your field carrying matching vibrations. When they arrive, receive them with the calm, settled certainty of a consciousness that always knew this was coming. Your inner light is no longer hidden. The world is ready for what you carry and is reorganizing itself around the growing network of coherent fields like yours to shift the vibrational baseline of human reality itself. Go now and be your frequency as a continuous state of being. If this transmission moved something in your body, share what opened for you in the comments below to add your frequency to the collective field and amplify the activation for everyone who comes here. If you sense someone in your life is on the edge of this same threshold, send them this transmission to extend a frequency bridge. Re-watch this in early morning silence and notice how deeply it lands when your conscious mind is completely quiet. Your frequency is your protection. Your light is activated. The shift has occurred, and you are ready for everything that comes next. Welcome to the field. Welcome to yourself. To take this activation into permanence, watch the video titled, "If You're Seeing This, Your Quantum Halo is Activating." It goes directly into what it means to become completely untouchable by low vibrational chaos and how to recognize the precise signs that your shield is already operating as your absolute protection tonight.